Nearly 2 decades in the sports broadcast game, and what a ride it's been. Interviews with the 42nd President Bill Clinton, to Lakers legends Kobe Bryant, and the NBA's all-time leading scorer Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, to name a few. I've been blessed to cover and tell some amazing stories, but there were so many more I didn't get to tell.
My guest on Untold Truths with Telly is Antoine Walker. Now, we're going to get in a little bit into what you're doing now, but of course, it's well documented, your post-playing career. There's been some financial hardships, but there's a lot of also false information that's out there. Is it bothersome to you sometime that there's a public perception that Antoine Walker just blew through $110 million?
Oh, without question, it's terrible. The perception out there is that I gamble my money away, and that's and I hate that. And that's motivated me to do what I'm doing right now today, as far as educating guys. Unfortunately, I got caught in a bad situation. A lot of people, older people that had money at that time in 07, 08, 09, 010 understand this, but I got caught in a recession. I was in a recession. I lost my money in the real estate market. I was young, did not know much about it, but I was heavily invested in it. Probably was the best thing. My portfolio leaned in more 60% real estate, and I got caught in the market. I wasn't the only person. It was Fortune 500 companies that went bad, went bankrupt, and a host of other people that had money. But people, I had a situation that happened in Vegas at the same time I was going through that, and people kind of played that Vegas situation to thinking that was the reason why I filed bankruptcy. And it's actually, when I was younger and when it first happened, it would bother me that was the perception. I've worked really hard to try to change that perception and turn a negative situation into a positive situation. So it doesn't bother me as much now. I've worked really hard to change that image and to let people understand that, listen, yes, I made some mistakes financially, but that's not defining my NBA career. That's not defining who I am. So instead of, making this a negative thing, I'm going to turn this negative into a positive and share my mistakes with a lot of young guys. I mean, I came in the league at 19. Yeah. You got guys that's coming in the league at 18, 19 years old. They don't know nothing about money. They're first generational guys in their family to make money. Their parents were probably 9 to 5 people, never seen millions, and they just don't know. And that's usually the problem. We're just uneducated. You're not taking a lot of finance classes in college to learn these things. And I just try to tell guys, because I feel like we connect. They're probably going through the same thing. And when you know how it is, when you make it, you don't only make it, your family makes it, your cousin, your auntie.
Everybody. People that took you to practice a couple times.
Right.
And
right.
Yes.
The person that bought you a Happy Meal, now you owe them. I mean, I try to help guys with those type of situations. And, I was very generous when I did it. And I felt a certain sense of that I had to do it too sometimes. So I try to help guys and that. And, I think one of the biggest things that we don't do because we don't think about generational wealth, as athletes. And, your career's, if you're able to get 15 years, that's great. And if you come in at 19, 20, that you're 35 years old, you got a lot of life to live. Yeah. And I think that's sometimes when you're 19, it's hard to understand 35 and 40 years old. You're not thinking about that. So I just try to put that in their face and just let them know it's real. It's going to happen. You're going to get old. Your skills are going to diminish. The money's going to stop coming in. But while you're making the money, let's make some smarter decisions. Make sure that we do the right thing. Let's put up some money for the future so you can enjoy the fruits of your labor. And I think that's the biggest thing about it. But it's unfortunate. That's a great question. A lot of people don't ask me that. But that is the perception until people get in front of me. And I think even this year, having the first time, having the opportunity to talk back to the NBA players, I think a lot of them thought that.
Yeah.
Until they actually got a chance to hear me speak.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that's what they thought. And I'm not trying to and I always like to go in. I'm not trying to defend my mistakes, but also you got to understand the person, what happened.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. We sometimes just go with, it's unfortunate, but we live in a day and age where social media, the media is strong.
Yeah.
Nothing's a secret.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
So when you make a mistake, it's blown out of proportion sometimes. And if you're not willing to come out, and I tried to be a more private, more of a private guy back then, that if you're not coming out defending yourself, people can have this perception of
it has to be troublesome when people take one thing and link it to another. Like if somebody saw you and Jordan gambling one time, then
yeah.
they think that you always gambled with him, and then that's where your, all the money and riches went.
And that's crazy. And I remember, and I will touch on that. Like of course, I've been with Michael gambling. I've numerous of times, but people don't understand. Michael don't let you gamble with him in the casino. When Michael's at a blackjack table, he plays all the spots. People don't understand that. Michael plays all the spots. And then Michael gambles at a level that a lot of us can't play at. Yeah. You know what I mean? I got my limitations where I can play at. Hey, I may play 2,000 a hand. Michael's probably playing 25,000 a hand. It's a big difference.
Yeah, huge.
So it's a big difference. So just because I'm playing with him doesn't mean that I'm doing what Michael does. Michael got ability to borrow $1 million, $2 million. They tell me, Antoine, okay, give you 100. It's different. It's different. It's always different. But I did have, and I looked at those moments not as a bad thing. People may say, "Oh, you done with Michael?" No, that was some of my greatest moments with Michael. Being around him in that social setting, doing something he loves to do. I like to gamble. It was cool. It was more of an enjoyment part than a negative thing, whether we win or lose. But me sitting at the table with him influencing me to gamble was never the truth. I never could sit there. I was more of a cheerleader sitting there watching, and I was making millions, and I just sit there and watch him gamble, and root him on some nights.
Yeah.
But just watching his competitive drive, he can be down a ton of money, and watch him fight back just doing that. You know what I mean? Just watching him do that was different, to see his competitive drive. But those were some of the moments that I will always cherish, to be around him. I don't look at those as negative moments. Other people may look at that as that. But it wasn't a situation where he said that the situation I got in Vegas and the money I lost, Michael was nowhere around. Yeah. He wasn't around me. And those are some of the things I try to share with guys. But, those were special moments for me, being to have those intimate moments with Michael and be in his circle like that. And those things I will always cherish.
And you keep referring to telling young guys that, but you have been able to pay it forward, and a new initiative the NBA is doing. Talk a little bit about how you are reaching back and telling guys and sharing your experiences with now current players. Well,
the Players Association and the NBA decided they wanted to change it up a little bit and give the guys more of a personal touch, and they wanted to bring in some players or a player. And I got the unique opportunity finally to be a part of the financial literacy team that talks to all NBA teams this year, which was tremendous for me. It was great, and gave me the platform to share my story with the guys and to interact in a personal manner, to give them personal information about myself and my situation, but also help them. You will be it was so refreshing to see so many guys after meetings pull me to the side and ask me so many personal questions that they're going through the meetings, asking really, good questions so they don't make the same mistakes. And it's what I've been waiting to do since I went kind of the last 5 or 6 years, to be able to come back and give back to these young guys in the league. And I enjoyed every minute of it. To be in the room, back with the guys, LeBron and Chris Paul and these guys, and to be able to share my story and guys get something out of it. And really, I just want to change the narrative. The number's high.
Yeah.
The number is very high.
Mm-hmm.
The number is high of of athletes and entertainers losing their money once their careers are over. Yeah. And we got to change that number. Guys are making too much money, especially now. Guys are making too much money. When you look at the average salary in the league at $7 million, guys have got great 401k plans. They got great post-retirement stuff set up for these guys. So guys should not be having financial trouble moving forward if they're educated. And hopefully I can be a part in changing that number. But it's just a matter of fact of educating them. As I alluded to earlier, we got so many guys that are coming in 18, 19 years old that have never had money, but also their parents have never had a lot of money.
Yeah.
And just helping guys understand that you can have great lives, you can have great lifestyles. Just remember that, you know, let's say something for when you get 35, 40 years old, when you can't run and jump anymore. And that's the biggest thing that you try to get across to them, and just help them with everyday situations that people don't talk about. I'm pretty sure it's been times people see you on TV, they think you got all this money, they call you like, hey, you know, you got to be able to deal with those type of situations. I come from a family, I was the oldest of 6. Yeah. So I dealt with that, with the uncles, the aunties, the friends. So you want to help those guys through a situation, because it's hard to say no to people that you love and people that you want the best for. But when you make a lot of money, unfortunately, you got to be a little selfish. Yeah. And you got to be a little selfish, and it's hard to do. And people criticize you when you do that. But at the end of the day, if you lose it like I lost it, nobody then come knocking on my door like, hey, you go back, nothing back. You know, it was never that type of situation. So it's a great thing. I'm excited. Hopefully I can continue to do it. I thought we made great progress this year as far as financial literacy. I believe guys got a lot out of it. Obviously, time will tell to see if, you know, guys, the numbers change. But hopefully they do. You know, if you know, if they knock off 10, 15%, I mean, that's a great thing. But we got to change that number. The numbers is saddening. It's too many guys that are losing their money. And I just give you 2 examples real quick. You look at Kevin Garnett's situation. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. Him and
I've
Tim
heard
Duncan,
a little about it. Yeah.
But Tim Duncan, you know, that's a $77 million that he's got tangled up with a guy that he lost. You look at Tim Duncan, was represented by the same guy. That's 20-some million for him. It happens to the best of us. Yeah. And nobody's an exception to the rule. You know, we all believe we have to trust in somebody to handle our money. And if we don't know how to ask the right questions, and if we don't do the right things, we don't audit these people, we don't stay on top of them, we can lose it all. Because, you know, one thing that happens at 18, 19 years old, once you sign an NBA contract, you are the CEO. You're a CEO now. Yeah. You're a CEO of you, and you have to handle yourself that way. And a lot of guys, we get complacent. We get lazy as athletes. We don't want to do, you know, we don't want to do certain things, you know, and it's crazy because we work so hard and we do everything. We run all the sprints. You shoot all the shots to be the pro. And then when you become a pro, you know, you want to be cool and not do what you got to do to take care of this money that you just work so hard to get. So once you put it in that perspective for guys, they get it. Like they get it sometimes. Like, oh man, I think about how much hard work you had to get just to get this NBA contract. Yeah. Why are you gonna let it go away now? And we get lazy at times. So I just try to reiterate to guys to take this serious, to make sure they watch their money. I'm never telling them not to have fun, not to buy nothing nice. I mean, not to treat yourself. I mean, that's not I can't tell you what to do. That's not what I'm trying to tell you to do. But I'm trying to tell you to make sure you save and preserve something for the end. And you got to be a little selfish in this process. And you can't save the world. You got to take care of yourself.
Man, that's a great initiative that you're pushing forward and sharing your experiences. Now, we've come to a part of the show where I'm calling it Tell the Truth. And I'm sure that'll be no problem for you. You always tell the truth. So I'm going to just throw some, you know, random questions and you can tell me if they're true or not. Okay. Number 1, or not true or false, but also you can just answer. Number 1, the most points you've scored in any game at any level.
65, Summer League, IIT, Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah. I got the most ghetto points in the world. I got a lot of ghetto points. I got a lot of ghetto points.
65. All right. Second one. Who's the best trash talker other than yourself and Jordan?
Kevin Garnett.
Kevin Garnett. All right. A lot of stories about gambling. You just alluded to you and Mike You played maybe $2,000 hands. Have you ever played any hands higher than $10,000 with Michael?
Not with Michael, but I have played hands higher than 10,000.
Gotcha.
But not with Michael though.
Not with Michael.
No. And even to add a sidebar, Michael plays games that I don't know how to play.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense. So he plays poker games that I don't know how to play. I'm real basic. Spades, blackjack, craps. I'm the real traditional basic. Well, Michael may play pity pat, I don't know, Paduki, 7 cards. I mean, they play different stuff that I never played, so no.
True or false? One of the first things you did when you got your NBA contract and your Adidas money was buy your mom, who is a single parent of 6, a mansion in Chicago.
True. Bought her 2 homes. The first home was about $500,000. I had to build my bankroll up a little bit. Then we got the second home, which was built from the ground up, which was like $4.5 million, 15,000 square feet. Yeah.
All right. True or false? At any point in time, you supported up to 70 family and friends.
That's false. 70 is an exaggerated number, but I would say 30. 30 would probably be, when you count family and friends, I would say 30. It would be more of a real number. But 30 feels like 70.
Yeah, I bet it does.
Yeah, 30 feels like 70, so it's the same.
Because I'm sure amongst those 30, they had kids, so I mean, it could have multiplied to that.
I would say 30 at one time. It was 30 is probably the highest that I was taking care of.
I know you always had a fetish for cars. How many cars have you owned at one time?
9.
And can you name them all?
I owned 2 Bentleys. Well, actually 3 Bentleys. I owned a drop top GT, hard top GT, an Enlarged Bentley, Maybach, Range Rover, Cadillac truck, Hummer, BMW, and I want to say it was a Lexus. I don't know if that's 9, but the Lexus, yeah. I had a Lexus for the big one, whatever the big one, 4-door. Wow. So I think that's 9, close to 9.
What's that?
That's close to 9. It's 9.
No, I think that's about 9.
Yeah, it's about 9. And my most expensive one was the Maybach, 460.
Woo! Wow.
Yeah,
and final one for you. What's that?
That might have been my dumbest purchase, but 460 for the Maybach.
And final one for you. The biggest accomplishment on the court and the biggest accomplishment for you off the court.
Whew, that's a low. On the court, I would have to say, and I know it's real simple when you hear a lot of guys say this. I would actually say, I would say winning that championship in 06.
Okay.
And it's tough because I had a lot of great moments in my NBA career, but that championship year was special. And just to add to that, to be alongside Shaq, D. Wade, Gary Payton, Alonzo Mourning, Jason Williams, James Posey, Udonis Haslem, just the guys I played with was special to me. The relationship that we built, even if it was just for that 1 year, was something surreal. And playing for the great Pat Riley, even add him to the equation. So that championship season was probably that. Off the court, honestly, probably just being able to build my mom the house from ground up was everything to me. Being the oldest, I saw the struggle a little bit better than my little brothers and sisters did, and I saw how hard she worked. I saw her work so hard to take care of myself. Sending me to private school, I couldn't even afford sometimes to eat, and her making sure my education and everything was taken care of. Just so having the opportunity to build her house and you know those moments with your mom, to sit here and watch her with a developer and pick what she want. You know what I mean? Anything that she wanted, you was able to get for that's something that I will never forget.
That's awesome stuff, man. Twan, it was so great catching up with you, man. I appreciate you doing this, man. And it's always good to see you.